As the title of this video suggests, we're looking at 12-mark questions. So take the time now, pause the video and read through this 12-mark questions, remembering that 12-mark questions will always start with the command word of evaluate. Pause the video and read the question. So what is the question asking us to do? Well, first of all, let's have a look at what it assesses. AO2, AO3, and AO4. Analysis, application, and evaluation. Notice that there's no AO1, which is knowledge. So first rule, first point, writing a definition is not going to get you any marks. And it's actually just going to waste valuable writing time. So please don't waste your time writing a definition, because you're going to waste your time and the examiner is not going to give you any marks for this. So going back to the question, with reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, evaluate whether pollution permits are the most effective way to reduce pollution in the Maldives. So what we're going to have here is an argument for pollution permits and an argument against pollution permits or any other options, and also a concluding paragraph is needed in a 12-mark question. Going back to the mark scheme, we can see that they split it up into reasons for pollution permits, perhaps the positives, the benefits, if you want, of pollution permits. So the real reasons why we should use pollution permits, the arguments for. And then we can see below that they've written, again, the reasons against pollution permits. So what's the drawbacks of using pollution permits? What's the cons, if you want? So pros and cons of using pollution permits. So starting your answer, I would suggest that you start with, in my opinion, pollution permits are beneficial because, or if you believe they're not beneficial, if they have drawbacks, pollution permits will not work because. But make it very, very clear to the examiner what your opinion is, how you're starting your argument. In my opinion, pros, or in my opinion, drawbacks. Okay, but make it very, very clear to the examiner how you're starting out this paragraph, because we're going to have 3 paragraphs. One paragraph, the benefits or the arguments for, and then the second paragraph is going to be the drawbacks, arguments against, why we shouldn't do something, and the third paragraph is going to be your concluding statement. So now starting your second paragraph is going to be relatively easy because you're arguing the other side of your first paragraph. So in your first paragraph, if you discuss pollution permits being beneficial because they limit the amount of pollution that a hotel or a business can pollute, then you're now going to talk about the reasons why pollution permits will not work in the third paragraph. So what are the issues with pollution permits? Maybe because they can be traded, big businesses can buy more pollution permits. So if they have enough money, they can just keep on polluting without actually having much of a financial impact on them. So second paragraph is your argument against whatever you said in the first paragraph. And now we come to our final paragraph, and start your paragraph. What are we looking for in the conclusion? Don't repeat yourself. Don't just repeat your analysis points. We're really looking for evaluation. And as we know, as economists, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can see down here, again, in the mark scheme, okay, that it tells us. And this is replicated dozens of times for 12-mark questions, okay? The first one is there's a combination of measures. Okay, so I think here it says there's combination pollution permits with educating the Maldives populace. Okay, there's another one here that says fining the hotels. So it's really telling the examiner, okay, I know about pollution permits, but as an economist, there's many different ways that we can solve this problem. And you'll see this is repeated time and time again question might ask about monetary policy, and in the conclusion, let's say a combination of monetary and fiscal policy, how to eliminate inequality or poverty within an economy. It might talk about taxes. It might talk about welfare benefits. It might talk about raising the minimum wage. So it's really, if you're looking for a shortcut, it's a combination of measures and explaining why those combinations will work. So example here, why education will help reduce pollution in the Maldivian environment. And finally, use the data in the case study or in the question. The number of answers that I've read have been fantastic. They've managed to explain and analyze and evaluate the reasons why, the reasons against, and written fantastic conclusions. But the question is asking you specifically about a country, or it's asking you specifically about an economic term or economic method. Please relate to that method, relate to that country, use the data provided. And if not, it says in the question, with reference to your economic knowledge, bring that in as well. Bring your economic knowledge in. The examiner wants to see that. So to summarize, no definitions. You're just wasting your time and you won't get marks. First paragraph, in your opinion, what do you believe? Second paragraph, counter your opinion. Fight against it, argue against your opinion. In your conclusion, to conclude, a combination of measures. What is actually going to resolve this problem or help resolve this problem? Because we know that governments use more than monetary policy, or use more than fiscal policy, or use more than pollution permits and fines and regulations. They use a combination of measures. And finally, use the data. Okay, use the data. A hint here, just by saying the name of the country, that is not application, or the name of the entrepreneur, that is not application. You're going to have to dig a little bit deeper and talk about, so pollution permits, Maldives is famous for tourism, so you can talk about hotels. That would be application. Good luck. Okay, just a little hint, bonus, whatever you may want to call it, a bit of advice. Sometimes questions ask, how many points should I have in my argument for and against? I would aim to have 2 points for and 2 points against. If pollution permits are used, then there is a restriction on the amount of pollution waste a hotel can produce, so it reduces pollution. That might be 1 point. And then you use the if then so framework again, saying why pollution permits will work, and you do exactly the same on the other argument. However, you can use 1 point and develop it, have 4 or 5 development points for it. So saying why pollution permits will work and develop that chain of reasoning a bit longer. The exam guidance says a balanced argument. They don't give much more guidance than that. So maybe 2 against 2, 1 against 1, if they are 4 to 5 development points on that one argument.